we're talking about episode ideas. I had one where we could do top 5 favorite films in different genres. And
all right, Toolshed Art Club. We got a guest in-house today.
Hey guys, what's happening?
we got Producer Myrddin.
Did he say it right?
Yeah, he's got it.
Okay. I've been working with you for a month, and I'm like, some days I feel like I got it, some days I don't, and I just call you the Mac.
Yeah,
the return of the Mac.
General ballpark, it's quite all right with me. So, like, you can call me Myrddin McHugh.
That's
Maurice.
because you're named after Merlin the Wizard.
Yeah, that is true. I'm a second generation nerd.
Is this actually something that is coined in the zeitgeist, or something that you came up with?
No, it's there was a book my dad read when he was around 10, in between 10 and 12, called The Crystal Cave. It's a book of Arthurian legend. And he saw my name, Myrddin McHugh is how it's relatively pronounced in Welsh, and it's the original name of Merlin the Magician, the Wizard.
Yeah. No, but the second generation thing.
Oh, second generation nerd. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I may have coined. I don't know if I've coined that or not, but but I would feel like, because like my dad loved all sorts of pop culture stuff that comic came up, had a first issues of Fantastic Four and stuff like that, and so I kind of like came up with liking comics, loving movies. My dad like when it comes to movie knowledge, like, he will obliterate anyone and everyone that will come to the table with that. I'm sure him and Quentin Tarantino could have a pretty good conversation.
Wow. So what kind of movies was your dad in? Like, what's his expertise?
Hammer horror films.
Okay.
Hammer horror films. That's the one with Christopher Lee, and who was the guy that played it wasn't Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars. Peter Cushing.
Do you know this?
No.
Peter Cushing. Him, Christopher Lee, and Peter Cushing were really good friends because they were in some of the Hammer horror film Dracula movies, and they become really good friends.
So it's there's actually a genre that they call Hammer horror.
Yeah, because Universal Studios owns the rights to generally what you know of the Frankenstein with
the
bolts.
Universal monsters.
Yeah, the Universal monsters. So the characters themselves aren't copywritten, but your depiction of the characters can be or trademarked or something like that.
Like Winnie the Pooh now. Like
right,
if
right.
it's Winnie the Pooh without the red shirt, Winnie the Pooh with the red shirt's copyright. Winnie the Pooh without it is yours to.
It's free game.
Yeah.
I can start my own Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, there is actually there's some sort of YouTube page. The day that Winnie the Pooh went into public domain, there was a horror film put out about it.
I think I remember.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
Yeah. Well, the kind of the setup with why we wanted to get in the Producer Myrddin here was, we're talking about episode ideas. I had one where we could do top 5 favorite films in different genres. And so before I get to that, though, you kind of have a background where besides your dad, I mean, you're just background in general. Could you kind of run through that? I mean, you've seen a ton of films, and you know a little bit about filming, right?
Yeah. I came up seeing just about every single blockbuster movie that you can think of from 1988 to about 2002.
Did you see my phone? The back of my phone case?
Oh, nice.
It's a Blockbuster.
Is that actually your old card or is
No. It's
just...
just a phone case. My mom used to work there, so I'm a big Blockbuster.
Dude, I worked there.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, I've only been fired twice in my life, and one of them was at Blockbuster Video. And now when I was at the Halloween store, they have a 90s section with Blockbuster uniforms.
Oh,
That's where we're at now.
At Spirit Halloween, is that what you're talking about?
This was at Party City.
Oh.
Wow. But I'm sure Halloween Spirit or Spirit Halloween has one too. But yeah, dude, I worked at Blockbuster and they made you in high school. And they made you be clean shaven and you had to have like a nice haircut. And I've always just done whatever with my hair. It's kind of like my art. And I put dreadlocks in, but little Coolio ones.
Oh, yeah.
And what? Yeah, because my cousin, Mandy, I love her. She was a hairstylist. So I could go into her and I would have her do like lines, bricks, Vanilla Ice style. And I was like, all right, I want to do these dreadlocks. But then I realized I did them. I was all excited. I had work that weekend, and I'm like, oh, they're going to freak out. So I went to a wig store, an actual wig front shop, and bought a wig of real hair that was like dark Italian kind of hair. And you could actually brush it, and I put it on. And I was standing, there helping customers, and the manager was just in the back, just staring at me. Just stone cold, just above all the racks. And I was like, oh, God. And he came over and he was like, why are you wearing a wig? And I'm like, I'm not. And he was like, that's a wig. I go, no, it's not. This is my real hair. And I think I said, it hurts me that you never noticed or something. And he pulls it off and all my little Coolio dreads flop out. And he goes, put your wig back on. So I wear the wig for the rest of my deal. And then he calls me on Monday and he's like, can you come in? And I'm like, why? He's like, I just need you to come in. Well, apparently it was like laws back then, I don't know if they still are, that you had to be present when they fired you. So he said my drawer was short 10 cents. And it was my third offense of having a short drawer, of just minor change. So he fired me.
Oh.
But we all know.
Well,
it was because of the dreads.
As you were describing the dreads and pulling off the wig, I'm imagining Weird Al Yankovic on the cover of when he did Amish Paradise, just like sticking.
I was thinking of Tommy Lee's mugshot. One of them, he has dreads.
Dude, I have a photo.
We have to set that up. Well, yeah. So, where are we even going with that?
I just turned into a country.
Oh yeah. So I was had seen a lot of the major blockbusters that had released in between the late '80s and early 2000s, and have my dad having appreciation for movies, and honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, so I joined the Air Force in 2002, and throughout that time, I was just like, I had a real knack for storytelling, and having this conversation, you may not agree with that.
I agree. It's okay.
I'm terrible. I don't word good sometimes, but anyway, I just love storytelling. And so I was just like, I would love to be a filmmaker. And so, I would just having seen all those movies, wanting to do movies, got out in 2008, and was going to go to UT, University of Texas, for filmmaking. I was this close to being an extra in Machete.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was at an open casting call, and I went with my buddy Rob, and this was like 2 weeks before I moved away from Austin, because I lived in when I was stationed in San Antonio up until 2008, moved up to Austin, and did an open casting call, and about 2 weeks after that casting call, I moved back up to Omaha. And I talked to my buddy Rob, who also went with me on the audition, and he's just like, "Dude, you would have been in this movie, because they called everyone back. We just did this crowd scene." He's just like, "I got to be in that scene with Robert De Niro when he's doing the whole crowd work. I got to see the guy Terry O'Connell, who played John Locke on Lost." Yeah. He was just randomly sitting in a hotel in a hotel balcony and waving at everyone, just like
politician style.
And they got because the movie Predators was being made at a soundstage in Austin. They got to see the set for Predators.
Did they get to be in the background of that at all?
No, they just got to see this.
Can you imagine getting your SAG card because you're in Machete and Predators.
No, that would have been
awesome.
That would have been awesome because, like, we're gonna, as we get to our favorite movies, you'll come to find some of my favorite movies are, and certain Arnold Schwarzenegger movies are at the top of those lists.
Oh yeah, baby.
Well, we can roll right into it. So my idea was we would each pick of our top 5 favorite movies, and kind of, I think we'll all go into this with the agreement, kind of with what our conversation was last week about when we were kids, our favorite X-Men was Wolverine, but we didn't want to say Wolverine, and we wanted to sound cooler than that. So I think we have the agreement that we're not going to try to be all artsy with it, but just truly what our 5 are in certain categories. So you want to just start with action?
Yeah, let's go to action.
All right. I'll roll into it first, maybe, and then I'll let you take over on there, and then we'll do Austin, because Austin's the only one without anything written down. So
it's all in a trap, baby.
So all right, my top 5. I have for number 5, Rambo 4.
Rambo 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dude.
That's the one where you revisit him, like where that meme of him giving the thumbs up comes from, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He cut every single that entire army in half.
Yeah, my mom got that for me on DVD, and I remember thinking when I watched it, like, I can't believe my mom is letting me watch it. Like, not only letting me watch it, but like having it on DVD. So, number 4, The Punisher with Thomas Jane. Punisher with Thomas Jane. Big fan of that one. I think we talked about that one last week. I don't think you're as big of a fan. That's all right.
I like Thomas Jane did a really good portrayal of Punisher. I feel like the short that he did was a little bit more representative of the Punisher character. My favorite of Punisher movies is Punisher War Machine, just because of
Punisher Warzone.
Punisher Warzone.
Number 3, I have Apocalypto, directed by Mel Gibson. I was thinking about this. Mel Gibson just flat out might be my favorite director. I don't know. I'm still on the journey of figuring that part out, but
no, he's a. I mean, the contributions that he's done to film is great. Other aspects are questionable.
Dude, I think he's probably my favorite director. Just because, you're so good.
Did you watch the one where he plays Santa Claus?
Not yet. I have not seen that movie.
That movie's crazy.
I think I did see that. What was it called? What was it about?
I don't remember. Someone tries to assassinate Santa Claus.
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was. I'm like, all right, Mel.
Well, Santa. With Apocalypto, that's a movie where I can, after I watch the entire movie, I could restart it and watch it again. Like, there's just something about it. I'm on the edge every time I watch it. It hooks me. I absolutely love it. Number 2, I've got Gladiator. Just a massive fan of that. And my number 1 favorite action movie is Fire Down Below. Steven Seagal. I don't know if you've seen it. He goes down to an area in, I believe, is it Kentucky? Where
I'm just laughing because out of people's favorite movies of all time, I don't know if Steven Seagal has ever made it to the top of that list.
I'm not trying to be ironic. I'm not trying to be a smartass. Like, I love that movie. Yeah, it's in Kentucky. When Travis Tritt's in that movie, Randy Travis is in it. But it's basically, here, I'll read you the Wikipedia thing. Steven Seagal plays Jack Taggart, an EPA agent who investigates a Kentucky mine and helps locals stand up for their rights. Truly, absolutely love that movie. He kicks a lot of people in the nuts. He kicks people in the nuts while Travis Tritt plays at a casino. I mean, that's all you need to know about that movie. But to the point where when I visit my brother-in-law who's in Fort Knox, I genuinely try to calculate how I can, because it's like 5 hours. It's at a different part of the state, but I truly want to go down to just see the town where it was filmed at. So those are my top 5 in action.
So and then is that like he was down in Kentucky and then he took care of that situation and he went up to Alaska, or did he go to Alaska first?
That may be the Steven Seagal. Have you heard? There's like a sub.
He loves nature, right?
There's like a genre of people with not genre, but
Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Or his character, because he's part of the EPA.
You're talking about the movie On Deadly Ground.
No, just in general, I think he made On Deadly Ground because he loves nature.
Yeah,
he's a big. He wants to save it.
Have you ever heard of there's like an online group or whatever who have the lore that all of the Nicolas Cage movies are somehow connected?
No, I don't know if that's even possible.
Yeah, there's like
There's too many Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah, it's like a fan fiction thing where they try to like weave them all together in the same universe.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I'm glad that someone's dedicated their time to that.
Yeah, I don't know how you're able to do that, but it's.
Oh yeah, he's all over the place in his movies, but yeah.
I don't have these in any particular order.
That's
but
okay.
My favorite action film of all time though is Predator.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's just got that sheer amount of machismo that you need. It's just, it's got Arnold. It's got Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yes.
It's
almost had Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Almost, but that okay.
Yeah, Jesse the Body. He did a good job in that movie.
Yeah. Carl Weathers is in it.
Yeah.
And it's just I just absolutely love that. Now, all the sequels, they're hit or miss, but
I like Predators 2 a lot. I don't know about
Predator 2 is decent. I think people were a little thrown off
because he goes to the city, right?
Yeah,
it's like when Jason Takes Manhattan.
I just watched that.
It's probably my favorite Jason movie because it's kind of silly.
And the thing that bothers me about people's portrayal, they're just like got angry, just like I don't see, for like Predators. It's like I don't see Adrian Brody taking on a predator. I'm just like I don't. This isn't grounded in reality.
Like predators are not real.
Like just separate yourself from like. Does this make sense for this movie? I mean, they had Topher Grace as the main bad guy as just like the ultimate killer because he's the doctor that kills people.
Did he do a good job?
Of Topher Grace?
I kind of like Topher. He's come around. People kind of called him like a wet blanket back in that 70s show because he wanted to hang out with Ashton and the rapist in that other one. The guy that
down here.
Yeah. That was like, just he did the 70s show and then his other career was just like dating young Hollywood actresses. But now they're like, Topher was right. He did the right thing.
No, I've always I haven't seen him a lot of stuff. I don't really remember anything that he's. I mean, he was in Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
And people were.
I thought he
shitting on him for that.
I thought he did an awesome job. As a douchebag that becomes the guy.
It's forgettable. I mean, I don't remember that well. Yeah.
I wasn't as big of a fan of that, but I think he's even kind of come out and joked about it a little bit. But it is what it is.
Well, you have to. But and now the cool the cool thing about doing sequels or doing anything like that, especially with the MCU and this whole multiverse and the cross pollination in between Sony and Disney is like how they brought Andrew Garfield and wow, I am
Tobey Maguire, all those guys.
Bringing them back. I mean, I could see them having Tom Hardy and Topher Grace doing something with Venom.
That'd be kind of wild. There's a way you could do it. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm down. I think Tobey was the best. Spider-Man.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you thought Topher Grace was the best Venom, but Tobey is Spider-Man. Yeah, I mean, I could see that for sure. So what else we got?
Have you ever heard like the lore about like supposedly he's the biggest asshole?
Who?
Tobey Maguire.
I've heard
like poker games.
That's the only time I've ever heard that him of being a douche.
No, but like
that movie Molly's
story.
Game, right? Yeah, because he's like a character in there is based off of him on Molly's Game.
Yeah, but I think that's the only time, like, because when you're playing poker, you're playing poker. Like, there's an element to that. But from what I've read, he's great in restaurants. He loves tipping. He's a pretty reasonable person.
I like the poker lore.
Yeah, the poker lore is just like that's just, he's like. Not play Molly.
He actually deep down you know, he's got that dark Venom side with his hair where it's like this, you know, and he's like, my son can do the dance. He memorized the dance that he does this out, like when my son was like 8 and he would just start doing it.
That's really, really funny. Have you seen Molly's Game?
No.
You should definitely watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. Yeah. I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's I can't remember who plays the character that he's supposed to represent.
But yeah, it's pretty wild. Wild character. But yeah, what else?
Terminator 2.
Nice.
Easy one to go to. I mean, my top 2 are like...
And I just told you that T1000 liked one of our reels the other day, so there we are.
Which I've always appreciated everything that Robert Patrick's been in.
Yeah.
Like it was recently played John Cena. What's Peacemaker? He played Peacemaker's dad.
Huh.
In the
in the
HBO series.
Yeah. Okay.
The Northman, fantastic.
Dude, that's in my queue. Is that movie looks nuts. I want to crank it up, but my wife can't be home because she's always like, turn it down. Because I like to just blare it. That's one that I got to blare.
Yeah, it's
not as like fast paced, I would say, as like Gladiator. I mean, I really like Robert Eggers as a director. I've seen all of the movies that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, within the past 2 weeks, I watched The Witch and The Lighthouse. It's a good movie, but if you think it's gonna be like fast, like 300 or something like that, I would say what would you say?
What I like about it is how he blended different Shakespearean stories like Hamlet into a Norse style myth. It's basically a cool Norse Norse take.
Just the whole movie just visually stunning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Eggers he's a historical detail freak. So he had they do a lot of research, and he has historians on deck to double check things. Like I've heard in an interview that they had some Norse, I don't know what it is, spelling that was incorrect, and they had to take some time to adjust it based off of what the historians say, even though nobody would have ever known. Like those small details are important to him. So I definitely love him as a director. The Witch is good, Lighthouse good. I have a look at you.
So we got Predator.
Predator, Terminator 2, The Northman, Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
I went and saw that. I wanted to replicate in 80s theater, so I went to the
you go to the Dollar Theater?
No, I didn't go to the Dollar Theater, but I went to the AMC that was near Oakview.
Oh, before it got redid?
Yeah.
Redid.
And I made sure I got that single screen where it's about this big and you're sitting in the middle of it, looks like this size. I wanted that 80s experience with just like Dolby 5.1 or maybe 3.1.
Mm-hmm.
Just to replicate that experience that you would have had in the 80s.
That's awesome.
Because I think I saw it twice, once in IMAX, and then I did that experience.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then Logan. I absolutely love Logan.
Okay.
I thought it was I wanted it to be a great swan song for Hugh Jackman's character, but I could always use a little bit more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, or and when Professor X came back and did his brief when Patrick Stewart did his brief cameo in Doctor Strange 2, I thought that was fine.
Yeah. All right. So say the 5 again, real quick.
Predator, Terminator 2, The Northman, Mad Max Fury Road, and Logan.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. What are your top 5 action?
All right. I'm going with there's a Rambo in there for sure, and I think I'm gonna hit Rambo 2. I really liked Rambo 2. I loved the screw-on blow-up darts. I was very upset to find out that that's not an actual thing. that those don't exist.
Really?
Someone told me that, and I looked it up, and apparently, they don't exist. But we can always dream.
Yeah.
So that's up there. Terminator 2. I'm gonna go through them, and then I'll tell you which one's number one. So Rambo 2, Terminator 2, Die Hard.
Nice.
I mean, I saw Die Hard on beta, where you put the tape inside the tape at my cousin's house. And I shouldn't have been, watching it at that age, but I was like, this is awesome. So we got Die Hard, Terminator 2,
Rambo
2. Then I got to go Commando.
Oh, man.
Melissa Milano's in that.
And I love Commando because it's so awesome. It's like Arnold at his peak of just being this behemoth man, and it starts off, he's just carrying an entire tree he chopped down. He's just walking around, he's like setting it down, He is the best lines of all time in that movie. Scully, remember I said I'd kill you last, I lied, drops him off the cliff. Then he goes to an island and kills an entire army, and then faces off against the weakest, flabbiest man, like the lead singer of Judas Priest. That's how he's dressed. And he has a hard time fighting him. He just killed an entire army. And they're fighting, and then he's then it let off some steam. And he jabs that thing in his gut, and I'm like, this is amazing.
That's kind of the same problem with the original Friday the 13th, where the mom kills like everybody in the camp, but then at the very last teenager, they have a 5-minute fight scene. And it's like, you just killed a ton of people. Why are you struggling now?
Yeah,
So,
but it was just such it was the weirdest villain. Like, this guy doesn't even lift weights. And he's like, like Arnold, the preposterous. But I accept it because, like you said, it's not based in reality.
Yeah.
So that guy, that flabby Judas Priest guy, has some skills. And then I am going to go with a Steven Seagal movie. But I'm drawing a blank on which one it was. But I really like the one where they kill his whole family, and he goes into a coma. He's in bed, and then they shoot him too.
I'll see if I can find it.
And then he wakes up. I don't know if it's Hard to Kill. Hard to Kill, I think, is the Jamaican one, where he goes to war with the Jamaicans.
I am not familiar.
License to Kill, maybe.
It might be Hard to Kill. It might be hard. A detective who falls into a coma after being shot during a home invasion. Yeah, Hard to Kill.
Hard to Kill, dude. He comes back scorched earth style. And some of the best, like the end of that movie is just awesome. He's hiding under, like crawl spaces on houses, blowing legs off with shotguns. I mean, he's it's awesome.
So what's the number? You can either do them in order or
dude, I gotta say Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 is, I think, the best action movie of all time. It's so good.
Yeah.
I wanted to come original, and maybe, but then I'd be lying to myself and you if I tried to say it was Hard to Kill or one of those others.
It's all right. I'm glad that you were honest. We'll do. I'll try to go in alphabetical order here. We'll go to comedy now. All right. For my top 5, I've got This Is the End. Have either one of you seen that one?
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Okay. This Is the End.
Dude, Danny McBride in that, where he becomes a cannibal. Have you seen it?
Yeah. If I'm thinking of the right one,
Where the rapture happens and they're all at
it's
James Franco.
Yeah, it's the whole Pineapple Express crew.
Yeah, and Danny McBride, he becomes a cannibal and has Channing Tatum on a leash.
Right.
And he comes out and he's like, Channing Tatum, and he calls him Tatum. He's like, I just butt fuck this guy.
Mom, when you watch this episode, don't look that movie up and watch it. It's too naughty.
Yeah, apparently Emma Watson, like they didn't tell, like she freaked out over that scene or something like that. It was like a whole thing.
What? Because was she dating the Tatum?
No, it was just like
because she's in that movie, right?
It was unexpected or something like that. It's like Channing Tatum. I don't remember. Just look up Channing Tatum. Emma Watson, This Is the End.
Well, there's some other history and drama with that. Jonah Hill, and then the guy that plays Seth Rogen's best friend who comes to visit, they hate that dude hates Jonah Hill in real life.
Oh, are you serious?
Detest him. Yeah. If you
No way.
like actually hates him. So then they were, I guess, Seth Rogen and James Franco were like, no, just play into that. So they had to like play into their real hatred. He said it was so uncomfortable. And
dude, that makes sense because then that where he's like, weed is tight, weed is. I always thought that was so funny where he's just like, weed is tight when they're having that conversation. And, and then afterwards he's like, he's being a dick, and Rogan's like, no, what are you talking about? He's been a perfectly nice guy. I did not know that they actually hate each other.
Yeah,
that makes it even funnier. But that scene where
mainly that guy hates Jonah.
That's oh man, that is hilarious and makes me like that movie even more. But that scene where Franco and McBride are arguing about that magazine, that's such a funny. Supposedly they had to reshoot that a bunch of times because one of the three in that scene would either start laughing if you remember that part. But I love that movie. Number 4, I've got Step Brothers. You know, obviously that's a lot of people's favorite. Just a funny movie. Mm-hmm. Number 3, Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon Dynamite was kind of my the first time where I started to get looked at as an entertainer in 6th grade. I really had a rough transition in middle school. 6th grade was kind of a hard year for me. And then in one of my classes, for whatever reason, we were talking and I was like, I know how to do the Napoleon Dynamite dance. And so the teacher was actually like, okay, yeah, come up and do it. So I did the Napoleon Dynamite dance in front of the class. And then I remember like just the attention I got from it, really, like at lunch, people were talking about it. And then in my other classes, the teachers were like, do the dance. And it became this thing throughout middle school where I would do the Napoleon Dynamite dance after that. So besides that, I watched it recently. It holds up. It's hilarious. I recently bought the script and watched the movie while reading through the script. And they did a good job, I think, on local casting as well. I mean, that's a success story as far as casting goes, I think, too. Number 2 is Ace Ventura. Same thing there, watching Ace Ventura recently while I was reading the script, and it made me appreciate Jim Carrey that much more because I think a lot of that had to be improvised, like when he's going to when he gets bit by the shark, but he doesn't know it's a shark, you know, and he's hopping in that tank and he's like hopping over the fence and like doing you know what I'm talking about, where he's like doing the like can you imagine being on the set? Like I don't know if he just did that and made roll with it, but that's hilarious.
I remember, and it was either from the director, and I don't know if I read it or watched it, or Jim Carrey was talking about it once, but he said that like he labored over that script and purposely tried to make everything quotable, like alrighty then, like everything that he did. So like he thought about it. He put a lot of thought into it.
That makes completely, because every scene is quotable.
Yeah.
Do not go in there.
Yeah. You know? So that was his whole deal. He's almost like, you know, Huey Lewis and the News. That dude said that they wanted to make an entire album of all #1 hits. And it's like Jim Carrey went in and just wanted to make a movie script of all quotes.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I didn't know that, but that makes sense. It makes complete sense. My #1 favorite comedy movie.
Yeah, I tied that in with Huey Lewis and the News.
This is brilliant. My #1 favorite comedy movie is Billy Madison. That's a movie for me that I quote a ton. Sometimes the song gets stuck in my head. Veronica, I thank you. So yeah, my top five comedy movies. This Is the End, Step Brothers, Napoleon Dynamite, Ace Ventura, and Billy Madison.
I love Billy Madison, and whenever someone posts like, whenever back to school photos,
yeah,
I'm just like,
back to school,
or I'm just like, and whenever school's out, it's like, Billy passed the first grade. Oh, what a glorious day. Billy passed the first grade. Yeah. Billy Madison waiting.
Billy Madison.
You rock.
What is insane is I didn't even know what conditioner did until I saw that movie.
I think about it all the time.
Your hair silky and smooth. And now that my hair is longer, I put conditioner in it, and I literally say that to myself I said it to myself this morning. Dude. That's how ingrained it is into my mind.
Do you have a? Are you nearby? You're close to you have a pond, right?
I don't personally have a pond.
I was just like,
I do have ducks.
Sorry, I was just wondering if if any swans ever like.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Yeah, I should get a Schwan.
He called the shit poop.
Get the Schwan man deliver out to you.
The Schwan man.
Stop looking at me, Schwan.
All right, so I'm just gonna run through these real quick. Half Baked, Dumb and Dumber, Mallrats, Tommy Boy, and Happy Gilmore. Those are, and I think they're all '90s movies too.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's like if you're gonna do comedies, unfortunately, that's kind of where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
That's when you can make them.
Yeah, I just Half Baked was just ridiculous, and Dumb and Dumber is just highly quotable, and somewhat like I love the subtlety and some of the jokes of like when what's his name, Mental dies from the rat poison.
Oh yeah,
and he's just like, shut up, bitch. and I can't remember which one delivers the line. It's like, you hurt him. He blamed me or something like that.
Yeah,
like, those were his last words. He blamed me for death or something like that.
All right, hit us with them one more time. The
top 5 comedies.
Top 5.
Half Baked, Dumb and Dumber, Mallrats, Tommy Boy, and Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, those are solid. Those are solid because I mean, in mine, I'm gonna go Ace Ventura because that is the hardest that I remember. The first time ever laughing that hard. And I remember I was like 10 and it was out on VHS and I went with my neighbor who was a few years older than with me to his grandma's cabin in like South Dakota or something, and they rented that movie. And I was laughing so hard that his grandparents were getting pissed. They would have to pause it and wait for me to stop laughing. And I was just on the ground rolling around. And I was a chubby kid. So I was just like a chubby kid rolling around on the carpet, laughing until I was crying. And then they'd hit play and something would happen. And then I would do the same thing over again. So that one. And then Dumb and Dumber and Happy Gilmore, probably the hardest I've ever laughed in the theater. Man, dude. But then it's hard because I think I might have to put The Waterboy on there, because The Waterboy too in the theater is
it's contagious.
It was so awesome, dude. It was so awesome. And I also saw There's Something About Mary, and I really wanted to put that one on there, but I'm going to have to do, and I'm going to lump them all together as one. A trilogy.
Okay.
The Hangover trilogy, I think, are the best comedies ever, probably. The most well done. I watched them all 3 in a row, and I was so impressed. And I liked how on the third one, they were like, all right, what are we going to do now? And then they just made it more action. It became like an action comedy. More so than anything else, and I was
I'm
just
not afraid
like,
to die because I'm already dead. I love
yeah, dude. And there's just so many and I remember going to see The Hangover, and there hadn't been like a good comedy in so long. And then me and my buddy went to go see The Hangover, and like right with the opening scene in like Las Vegas and everything, like you just knew that it was going to be an awesome movie.
Yeah,
and it was probably those were probably the last greatest before Todd Phillips is like, he's even sick of the wokes and the cancel culture. I mean, that's why he went off, and you can look it up. He's like, I went and made the Joker.
Yep.
Because these people I don't want to be hit up on Twitter or X now a million times about my comedies.
That, which is so wild. And I don't know, is the Joker a drama? Because that rolls well into a drama, if you call it that. I don't know. What do you even call that? Psychological?
I would say, I think it fits.
Yeah. Well, we'll roll into drama now. And I'll tell you why I'm not quite happy with this list, but this is what I got for my top 5 favorite dramas. And they're all pretty action-based. So number 5, we'll start. The first one's not. Number 5, A River Runs Through It. I tear up anytime I watch that when Brad Pitt says, oh, brother, I'll never leave Montana. Ooh, that gets me every time. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, number 4. Number 3, Inglourious Bastards is that a drama? Is it action? Is it war? I don't know, but I put that as a drama. Number 2 is Fight Club. I've just seen it so many times. The meaning of it has changed as you get older.
Fight Club 47 times. That's Fred Durst quote.
And I don't know, maybe you guys would remember this more than I do, but what I had heard was that it was kind of a take on masculinity before 9/11, and how some people took it as literal, and then other people took it as it was just kind of a modern take on men who were lost in that period of time. But number 2 there, and then number 1 is Shot Caller. That's kind of like Apocalypto, where I could watch that on repeat. But I'm not completely happy with that.
Who is in Shot Caller?
Oh, it's I can't pronounce his name. So Shot Caller is the guy. First of all, it's the guy from Game of Thrones. It's Nicolaja Coster Waldua. I don't even know how to say his name. It's got John Bernthal and Lake Bell in it. But a quick summary of it is basically the Game of Thrones guy. He's an accountant. He has a glass of wine. He's driving a car, and with his friend in the back seat, he accidentally runs a red light and kills his buddy. He goes to prison, or he goes to jail, and Max Greenfield plays the friend that dies. While he's in prison, basically he has to click up to try to survive, and what ends up being like a couple-year sentence turns into like a 15-year sentence because he's got to get involved in a prison gang. And so really the entire movie is about protecting his family, even though nobody else but him knows what he's doing and why. And man, have either of you seen it?
I want to.
No, I've never even heard of it.
I want to say I have, but I don't remember. It's recent. It's in the last 5 years.
Oh yeah, I think it's possibly one of the what was it? Was it 2017? I think it's the possibly the best movie since in 2017. Yeah, it's man, it is brutal, but yeah, I absolutely love it. But I'm not completely satisfied with the drama. So here,
but what I like best about your list, I think your number 1 is Fight Club.
Number 2 is Fight Club.
Well, I mean, that's my number 1 for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because one of my favorite things happens in Fight Club.
What's that?
Jared Leto getting his face pummeled. That is the greatest cinematic thing that's ever happened in cinema.
I agree. He should have his face beat like that in every movie he's in.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, him losing an arm in Requiem for a Dream is like, weak sauce. Like, you got to step it up, man. Get his face, make him look like Quasimodo,
Yeah, starve him like in the AIDS movie, and then take his arm and beat his face.
Yeah. Then
I'd actually be a fan if that happened in every film he was in.
Then I'll be like, oh man, I can't wait to see Jared Leto's performance in this. Him working with working in the conditions that he has, instead of coming out, just like, hey, it's because I went away, COVID happened.
So wait, why do you guys hate Jared Leto so much?
Because he's the Messiah.
Yeah, he thinks he's the Messiah. He goes to islands with all of his fans and wears white linen and walks like Jesus on the beach. And he's a pretentious douche. I'll give him one thing. I liked when he played the runner in the made-for-TV movie. That kind of was at the start where the guy from Nike made the shoes. He was a famous runner.
Prefontaine.
Yeah, dude. That was it. That was the only thing.
Do you like it because he died at the end of the movie?
You know what? That's the cherry on top. Now that you say it, that's probably why. I think I subconsciously love it because he died in that one too.
Why do you? There's a lot of people.
There's so many reasons, dude. Here's his Joker performance, the way that he's like in that Suicide Squad, which I think if we're gonna do best movies, that's the worst movie ever made on the planet Earth. I wanted to turn it off so bad, but I could not because I could not believe what I was seeing. Will Smith is Deadshot at the end. Like, I hate it. And then his performance as the Joker.
Yeah.
Like, he was sending people rats and thought that, he's like, I'm going to make the coolest Joker ever.
Yeah, was it one of his roles? He came in, it's just like, have you studied up on the character? I'm such a great method actor. I was born for this role.
That was Morbius, supposedly.
Morbius?
Supposedly,
he's a vampire. Like I could see him.
He got pushed to the set in a wheelchair.
See, that's why I don't like Jared Leto.
In a wheelchair. What, and he was blind?
I don't think. No, he's not blind in that movie. I don't think. And Morbius.
So he just. But then why do you have to do the wheelchair thing?
Because that's how it starts. That's how it starts off. He's a sick kid in a wheelchair.
Yeah. So he's like, and then so production's held up apparently, and he's like, push me on Morbius. I'm in Morbius in real life. Like, dude.
The point of being an actor or a method actor is to be convincing. Be as convincing in that role. That's why you're putting yourself in those conditions or putting yourself in those conditions.
He plays
it doesn't
having AIDS the best.
What's that?
No one plays having AIDS better than him. I just wish it was real life.
Jesus Christ.
What were you saying?
I lost track.
Well, you're talking about method acting, and I think I do think that the actor, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. Hold on, I'll pull it up right now. I think Robert Pattinson had it best with method acting. He's like, people only method act when they're playing an asshole. You never see someone method act as a nice guy, and I think that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The characters that Daniel Day-Lewis has played, apart from There Will Be Blood, he wasn't an asshole in Last of the Mohicans or My Left Foot, I don't think.
I don't know.
I like Daniel Day-Lewis because he disappeared forever and went and made wooden shoes.
Well, here's all right.
Right? Overseas, remember? He was like a cobbler.
Dude, he's excited.
He knows this. He's like, I'm done with acting. What are you going to do? Carve wooden shoes.
All right, here's the cool thing about Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes.
All right, so he left and became a cobbler, which is a great take on him being a method actor, right? So he literally is making shoes, right?
Yeah.
And he puts himself in other people's shoes when he's acting.
Oh, do you think he was whittling the shoes for his future characters? Do you think he whittled a pair of Lincoln shoes?
It's like, imagine that paradigm. Like he's just like, I've been involved. I want to know what it's like to be in other people's shoes, so I'm going to make shoes for other people. That's how I relate.
We just cracked his psychology.
We just cracked Daniel Day-Lewis's method acting psychology. So
did you make it all the way through yours?
Yeah, and I'll run through. So top five. So all right. So my top 5 dramas: A River Runs Through It, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Inglourious Bastards, Fight Club, Shot Caller. Brad Pitt's in 4 out of 5 of those. But with that being said, though, I did want to say I'm not completely happy with that list because I wanted to put Copland in there with Stallone, and then Catch Me If You Can as well.
Copland, love Copland.
Yeah.
I think that's one of Stallone's best performances.
So good, dude.
Performances.
Absolutely so good.
And just the cast ensemble is really good in that movie. And it's just like Ray Liotta. Your life's not a bulletproof. Your life's not a bulletproof vest, Freddie.
I said that to a guy I worked with before. I said the truth is not a bulletproof vest. Because this guy was like going to go tell off the boss. And I saw that movie, and then like a week later I quoted it, and he didn't know that I was totally quoting Copland.
Did he think that you were like filled with the most wisdom ever?
Maybe, but dude, I felt like I was in that movie. I love Copland, dude.
I love Copland.
Oh, man.
I love how he got obese for it. I still remember when it came out, he went on like David Letterman.
He talks about it in his book. He was like, he said like it sucked, and getting the weight off sucked.
Dude, Jared Leto got obese for when he played the killer for the what's his name?
I don't know.
The killer of John Lennon.
John Lennon. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he got obese for that.
Yeah, I wish they would have just cast a fat person.
I wish he would have stayed fat and never learned how to lose the weight.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and
roll into it.
The Prestige.
Nice.
Saw it when I got it on DVD, saw it like 12 times right away because Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, and even oh man, oh dude, the David Bowie's portrayal of Nikola Tesla made me love Nikola Tesla just because David Bowie portrayed Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, but how long was that character in that film?
Like 5 minutes. That's how impactful it was on my life.
5 minutes of screen time is a long time.
Nikola Tesla's awesome.
Yeah, he is, and the fact that David Bowie.
Yeah, nothing's.
It's awesome.
They should name a famous car company after that guy.
David Bowie.
Yes.
Bowie.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Okay.
I love that. Like that movie.
I'm blanking on which one that I'm gonna look it up because I feel like I've seen that.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
Kate Winslet.
Got it. Yep.
Mark Ruffalo is in it. Elijah Wood. I can't remember.
Some heavy hitters.
Yeah, some heavy hitters in that movie.
Yeah.
Early on in their careers, except for Jim Carrey, but
yeah.
Snowpiercer.
Dude, that's been on my to watch list a lot. It's been on for a while. I mean, it's on the top.
It needs to be on your watch it next week.
I will watch it next week. I'll watch it this week possibly.
John Hurt, one of my favorite actors, is in that, and Chris Evans does a good job in it.
I put that in like my kind
Don't you hate Chris Evans?
Yeah. I put that in my conspiracy movies where it's like the movies that are predicting the future, like Soylent Green or They Live.
Well, you're going to love what happens to his arm at the end of the movie.
Good.
Kind of like how we feel about Jared Leto.
All right, so Snowpiercer.
Moon with Sam. Sam.
It's called Moon?
Yeah, it's called Moon. What am I thinking? Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell plays a guy who's mining. I believe it's helium on the moon.
Yeah, this movie, Austin. If you
No, I've never. I've heard of it. I've not seen.
I really like that.
Oh man, Sam Rockwell scared the shit out of me as a kid when I watched The Green Mile with my parents. They would not let me watch the second VHS tape because it was broken up into 2, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, you can't. You're reacting like this to part 1. You ain't watching part 2."
Who did he play in that?
Wow, what happened to part 2? What happens in that movie?
He plays the insane guy, like the killer in The Green Mile.
The one that gets electrocuted? Or, I mean, that they don't put the sponge on the head?
No, he just plays the guy.
He just puts the sponge on the head.
The whole movie Green Mile terrified me when I was a kid, but not to.
It's a scary movie. I've honestly
when you're 5, when you're like 5 or 6,
I've only
it's scary.
seen the end when the guy was like, "I'm going to die now."
Yeah, when they when they have him with the dead girls, dude, that was like bone chilling to me as like a 5 or 6 year old. My parents were like, "You can't watch the rest of this movie." So anyway,
and the second tape.
I
remember you used to have to get 2 VHSs to watch a movie.
Right.
So you have Moon, and then what's after Moon?
Dune.
Oh,
I think I
just
the new one.
Moon, Dune.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet.
And here's another thing
about
separating, having some sort of division of reality is just like, I understand that Timothy Chalamet is a thinner than me and probably couldn't hold up against a fight against any of those guys. Like, especially when he's training with I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Who was played Cable in Deadpool. I'm blanking on his name too, but anyway, Josh Brolin.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like Timmy. I like Josh Brolin. Yeah, you know, it's in real life, yes, Timmy Chalamet is not taking out Josh Brolin, but the character that I just love that character. I love sci-fi is one of my favorite genres.
Yeah.
And that's the point of movies, is allowing yourself to go into this reality of this movie. And I love the soundtrack. I constantly listen to the soundtrack of Dune. So The Prestige, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Snowpiercer, Moon, Dune.
Got it. All right, Austin, let's hear it.
All right, obviously number 1 is Legends of the Fall.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of the greatest dramas of all time. No one is going to convince me otherwise. I just love that. I love that movie.
This is a Brad Pitt stan.
The metaphor. Here's the deal, dude. He might be one of the greatest actors of all time.
Brad Pitt?
Yeah, like people want to throw him off as a pretty boy, but I watched most of Interview with the Vampire the other night.
Yeah.
And he should have got top billing in that. because number one, he's the main character,
Yes.
not Tom Cruise.
Mhm.
Number two, his performance was way better. Tom Cruise gave a good performance, but like him as a vampire, I don't know. He just nailed it.
Have you heard-
Legends of the Fall, dude, is so just the story, the metaphors when he snaps and he scalps all those people that killed his brother in World War One.
that's amazing.
It's
Real quick though, have you heard of some of the stuff with Interview with the Vampire and how it set off a rivalry with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise? So supposedly Brad Pitt was pissed that they had cast Tom Cruise, and so was the author of the book. I think they wanted Daniel Day-Lewis. I could be wrong on that, but
he was whittling shoes.
But so Brad Pitt was pissed because they put Cruise on the poster. They put like his name on top, and to the point where Brad was like, "It sucked. You're always shooting at night. I had to have makeup and contacts on." And so he had asked like a producer, "Can I just buy myself out of this contract?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, for $50 million." And Pitt was like, "Okay, I guess I'll do it." So supposedly since then, there's been a lot of tension between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, and that's why they haven't really done any movies together or anything like that. And so
that was, and I think it was because Tom Cruise was like the biggest actor in the 80s. And then Brad Pitt pretty much was in the 90s.
I mean, you got to think too, though, he was still relatively up and coming at that point. Like he stood out on Thelma and Louise. He proved himself in A River Runs Through It. And then it was after Interview with the Vampire where they're like, okay, we'll give you a shot on 7. And then after 7, it was like, yeah, this dude can act. And he would say, like, I want
his portrayal.
No, but when was Legends of the Fall in the mix?
Oh, that was before. I think it was between. Oh man,
no, it was in Interview with the Vampire and Legends of the Fall had to be close together
They
because I
were, yeah.
remember when I was a kid, he was on the cover of Rolling Stone.
Yeah,
with his long hair.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Meet Brad Pitt."
He was still taking off, but yeah.
From Missouri.
So okay, sorry. So Legends of the Fall. What else we got?
Oh yeah, so we got Legends of the Fall. Then I'm going L.A. Confidential.
Okay.
With Russell Crowe.
Oh, that's a great movie,
dude. That movie's so.
I love that movie.
And yeah, have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. No.
You haven't seen L.A. Confidential?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh man, I wish I was you and I got to watch it and experience it all over. I saw it in the theater and I was like, yes.
L.A. Confidential is one of those classic
film noir.
Yeah, one of those classic film noir. Reminds me.
So good.
Reminds me a lot of Chinatown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Sweet.
Which the whole vibe and feel of that movie is so awesome. So we got those. Sandlot.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And because what other? I mean, it has to be in the drama category, right?
Yeah.
Would it be
comedy?
Drama. But it was more.
No, it counts.
It wasn't like
counts.
Yeah, it was more of a drama.
Yeah.
You know, coming to age, making friends.
All of my dramas were like action/drama, so it can't. Yeah, it totally counts.
Yeah, and I kept mistaking thrillers for dramas, and even though like
some thrillers. Oh yeah, because it's a drama thriller.
Yeah.
They would say so. That is L.A. Confidential, Legends of the Fall, Sandlot.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And then your fifth one?
And then I think for my fifth one, I would probably do Casino.
Yeah, that's a cool answer. Can you do...
I like when I was younger, I liked Goodfellas better because there's more action, but now I really like I like how it's long, I like the dialogue, I like the pacing of Casino. I think it's super fascinating. I love just the history of Las Vegas and how it came to be. So
yeah, so so spit off all 5 one more time here.
Yeah, it's
Legends of the Fall.
Legends of the Fall, L.A. Confidential, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Sandlot, Casino.
Bingo. So we'll go from drama we'll roll into horror next. I will say this for horror. I didn't really do this, but you can put any movie that scares you. Now, I didn't do that because quite honestly, the movies like The Road and Come and See, I don't know if either of you have seen those 2 movies. Those are way more terrifying than any of the 5 movies that I'm going to say. And I also think Eyes Wide Shut should be classified as horror. But I didn't put that down. I just kind of stuck with traditional horror. So for mine, I put American Psycho, Halloween, Stir of Echoes, The Exorcist, and number 1, A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I do think that the movie The Collection is good as well.
Yeah, that's a respectable list. American Psycho is probably my favorite out of those.
Yeah,
just because Jared Leto gets killed in it.
He takes the axe to the head on that one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I will say this about horror. Like for me, it was kind of weird because I've seen a lot of the classics, or read the book. I mean, the book that I wrote, Sleep, is a horror book. I've seen a lot of the classics, whatever. But I was like, I'm not gonna say, Rosemary's Baby just to try to sound cool or whatever. I'm just gonna be honest with what I enjoyed. And I'll say this too: when I was a kid, I was such a chicken that when I'd go to Blockbuster, if I would look at the covers of the VHS tapes, the DVDs, and I would get scared off of that. And I've heard Danny McBride say he was the same way when he was a kid. I didn't know anybody else was like that. And so my parents would never let me watch any horror movies as a kid. So I didn't see any until I was like 18. And I remember watching them being like, oh, these were nothing. There's so many sleepless nights because I saw a scary horror movie or the cover of the horror thing. And it's like, dude, this movie is nothing. So I don't know. My relationship with horror is kind of weird. I watched, like, for instance, the Blair Witch Project the other day, and it never does it for me because I know it's a movie. If I went and saw it in the theaters in the 90s where they had the campaign, they had the fake documentary, they had the website.
You thought it was real.
Yeah, they
made it sound real.
Yeah, I think had I seen it where I thought maybe it's real, then I think it would have scared the shit out of me. But I knew it was a movie, so when you watch it knowing it's a movie, it's like,
I've never seen the Blair Witch Project.
No, you remember the campaign?
No, I can't watch it because of the way it was filmed. It's just I get motion sickness.
Dude.
Like
you might not now. I've heard some people say that where they're like, I thought I was gonna get motion sickness and I didn't. So it may be different now.
Maybe now that I'm kind of used to it. But I remember, did you watch that movie Crank with the Jason Statham?
Jason Statham.
I couldn't watch that. Like I went and saw that in theater and I got motion sickness.
I thought you were gonna say Cloverfield because I heard that was another issue.
Oh, dude, I couldn't even.
I didn't watch
I
that.
get motion sickness too. I couldn't handle that.
But yeah, I saw Blair Witch Project too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was basically.
I wonder.
It's basically that group hysteria, like when everyone believes in something, it's happening when like that whole group philosophy on psychological effect of group hysteria.
Group think.
I'll roll in mine here. Alien. Absolutely love Alien.
Nice. It's a good pick.
It's just all-time classic.
Yes.
I love. I actually have 2 of Ridley Scott movies on this list. Evil Dead.
Okay.
I love the entire series. I'm going to do the whole series because Sam Raimi really kind of like did a lot of cool visual, practical effects and really kind of like helped reinvent horror.
Just like he reinvented the superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah. Toby. Pumpkinhead.
I haven't seen that, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
That movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, like 5 years old when that came out, and it, like, just the story of a revenge demon is kind of badass. I remember watching the sequels, but not a huge fan of the. I remember the original being great. The Thing.
Oh, dude, I've been meaning to watch that, and I keep forgetting. I do want to see that really bad.
Yeah, I mean, love Kurt Russell.
Of course, yes.
Well, why did I don't have 2 Ridley Scott movies. For some reason, I was mistaking John Carpenter and Ridley Scott.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. And then Jurassic Park.
Oh, wow.
Jurassic Park was originally categorized as a horror film.
No shit. Are you serious?
When it first came out. And in fact, if you probably look it up right now,
I will look it
it'll
up.
probably still say horror film.
I could see that. I just watched that 3 nights ago,
And-
with my son, we were actually talking about
It's on
it.
Sci-Fi Adventure.
Back then it was.
But that's fascinating though that it was.
I remember there distinctly being that horror sticker, that yellow horror sticker on the VHS for Jurassic Park, because they're just like, because of the opening scene. Now, the cool thing about Jurassic Park, even after 40 years, you can still see stuff. This is how great of a storyteller that Steven Spielberg is. Even though things have kind of gone downhill lately in the last few years, I rewatch it maybe once every 2 years. This latest rewatch of Jurassic Park happened about 2 months ago. And in the scene where the helicopter, where they're going to land,
yes,
and it suddenly drops, and everyone's just like, you got Ian Malcolm just like, you know, smooth operator with a seatbelt. Everyone else is, fumbling around. And Dr. Grant's like, oh, sure, I got 2 female ends. And he's just like, one of the best scenes for foreshadowing.
Dude, I never thought about that, but you're right. Dude, yeah, you know exactly how these characters are gonna handle like pressure in the. Yeah, I've never.
Well, that and check this out. Life finds a way. 2 female ends tied together.
Yeah.
Because that's what the movie's about, remember? Because they do all females in that movie, and he has the 2 ends, so he ties it together. No, I just watched it 3 nights ago, and when I told him I watched it, he said that.
Yeah.
And I was like, mind is blown.
I like every single person that loves that movie that I've told that to, they're just like, oh my God, that you're right. That is like that's like. I don't want to continue going on a tangent about Steven Spielberg, but we could come back to that later. But that's how great it is. When I was 14, so you're talking 1990. Well, actually, no, it was probably closer to.
I think it was 94 and 93.
Well, that came out. It came out in 93, and I watched it when I was I rewatched it when I was 14.
Okay.
Or actually, it was about 2000, 2001. I rewatched it. That's when I first noticed that they had this cool scene. In the beginning of the movie, they open up the door. It says Jurassic Park on the Jeep. And at the end of the movie, they do a very similar shot. And this, you could see this online now, and people have noticed this too. But I saw this before pre-internet.
Yeah.
They do a similar shot. Door opening. The mud is covering the J and the IC of Jurassic Park logo to where it says your ass park.
You think he did that on purpose?
Oh,
too?
definitely. If he's doing the foreshadowing with 2 belt buckles, he's definitely putting your ass park on the line.
Your ass park.
Yeah, your ass park.
That's all right. So run through your 5 again real quick.
Alien, Evil Dead, Pumpkinhead, The Thing, Jurassic Park.
Bingo. All right, Austin.
All right, I'm going, and I don't really, I mean, I'm not a fan of horror films. So, but I'm gonna throw it out there. So, I'm gonna go Halloween, the very first one. That's probably my number 1. And then Scream, the very first one. I Know What You Did Last Summer, the very first one. And Jack Frost, where the snowman comes alive and kills people.
Yes, I know.
And I don't know. My friends and I, we used to walk down to Blockbuster and then watch pick the cheesiest horror movie we could find by the cover. And I don't know, dude, that one just...
I keep mistaking that movie with Frost.
With Michael Keaton.
With Michael Keaton, where
he
comes back as the Stone Man.
Now...
And then the 5th one, it was... I would probably categorize like Predator as a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like it could be both. I think it was action horror.
Yeah.
But I remember it just being horrifying.
I remember watching that when I was like 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to come on Fox. Like it was obviously edited out. Yeah. But that's why it was like, it's always been one of my favorite movies.
Dude, I like those 90s movies, man. You know, even like The Faculty.
Oh, The Faculty is fantastic.
Yeah, which is, that was And I could probably potentially replace Jack Frost with The Faculty, but Jack Frost just still sticks out in my mind. It's just like a campy, ridiculous horror movie.
Yeah.
And I wanted to throw that out there.
I get why people say that the 70s was the greatest like era for filmmaking, but my personal favorite is definitely the 90s.
Well, they say the best era for like horror was I believe the 30s, 1930s, just because of just the sheer amount that came out and original ideas and stuff like that.
There was a shitload in the 80s too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where you more so you got the gore aspect out of it.
Yeah,
because horror's meant to. The things that I appreciate about really good horror movies is the reveal, the show and tell. It takes a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
To get to it, where the build up, the anticipation, the payoff needs to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I liked Predator a lot, is because you don't see him up until like the last half an hour of the movie.
Kind of like Psycho.
Yeah.
So say your 5 again, Austin.
Yeah, so it was Halloween, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Jack Frost, and Predator.
Nice. Now, do you guys want to do thriller, westerns, and romance?
I think we saved that for part 2.
I think that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can get into it and we don't feel too rushed. But so part 2, we're going to do, what are we doing?
We're going to do thriller, western, and romance. Now, do you guys want to do crime? Because we could do crime too. No. Or do you want to keep it to a thriller, western, and...
Yeah, let's do just those 3.
All right, thriller, western, and romance. All right, so next time, thriller, western, and romance.
All right, cool. Well, make sure you tap like and subscribe, and thanks for listening to another episode of Toolshed Art Club, and thank you.
Producer
Myrddin
McHugh. Mac. Daddy is what I call him. The Return of the Mac. That's what we're going to call episode 2. All right, thanks.